You know what? Let me just break down the plot real quick. Hyper spoilers for.
I only hunt Imperial war criminals. I'll take out every bad guy in your deck of cards.
It doesn't matter. This movie does not matter. But essentially, Mando gets hired by the New Republic to go rescue Jabba the Hutt's son. The aunt and uncle of Jabba the Hutt want the son returned because he's been kidnapped or something. His name is Rada, and the Republic is going to work with Rada's aunt and uncle because they will give them information on a super secret Imperial bad guy that they want to capture, named Coin. So there's a quid pro quo. The Republic is going to help the Hutts get their nephew back, and if they do so, the Hutts will then give crucial information regarding where Coin is, and just to be able to capture him. So Mando goes on this quest. He goes to this planet. It looks like Coruscant, basically. He talks to Martin Scorsese for a bit, and he bribes him for information. And at first, the guy Scorsese does not want to take the money because it's too dangerous. Because I guess some crime lord, this evil man named Lord Janu, controls the city. But instead, the Mandalorian asks for. He's like, I want information on Rada the Hutt, and he puts like more money down. And then Scorsese laughs and goes, "Oh!" and then takes the money immediately. He goes, "He's right over there." And then he looks over his shoulder, and there's big billboards with Rada everywhere. It turns out Rada is one of the best pit fighters on the planet. He's like a celebrity. He fights in these like battle royale arena things, and everyone loves him. And he's got billboards everywhere. So right off the bat, Mando's really stupid, or not even like paying attention to his surroundings. So that's not a good thing for your main character. But then he goes to meet with like Rada, and it turns out he's fighting for this guy named the Lord Jenu guy. Lord Jenu, and Rada apparently doesn't want to be found. And he's actually happy being a fighter in the pits because he doesn't want to be his father's. He doesn't want to follow in his father's footsteps, and he's always hated living in Jabba's shadow. Mando goes to Lord Jenu. And Lord Gino says, he goes, "Hey, I want to. I've got some people interested in Rada the Hutt. They want like him back home. They want to save him, and the Hutts want him back." And Lord Gino's like, "Oh, that's not going to happen. I'm actually going to be killing him in his next match. We're going to be doing a non-stop battle royale match, where we just keep sending monster after monster at him until he basically runs out of energy and just will be killed." So. Right off the bat, this is strange, because if you were Lord Jenu and this man came asking about wanting to help or free Rada from this like life, it seems really, really strange that you would just blurt out like, I'm killing him tomorrow. That don't make sense. Why would he say that? And then in the same conversation, he goes, "Mando, you're pretty good to fight. How would you like to fight for me in my pits?" And it's just sort of like, wait, in the same conversation, you just told him that you're rigging fights to just have your own people killed for whatever reason, you know? And there's some line there where it's like Rada's last hut is going to be paying off a debt or something. But at the same time, it's like, well, wait, why you're going to kill him after he pays his debt off? And then you're also telling this guy, the guy you just told, who you know has an interest in saving him, why would you tell him that you're planning on killing him? Why would you also then offer him a job? He just heard you say that you rig the fights. So that's freaking strange. This Lord Genu guy, he's a bad guy. That's what the movie's trying to say. Lord Genu is a bad man. But also very stupid, apparently. But luckily for him, Mando's also really stupid. So the two don't really... there's not really anything too bad going on there. Mando then tries to go to Rada and warn him that his boss is going to kill him. Genu's going to kill him. And Rada doesn't believe him and instead calls for backup. And some strange gas starts pouring into like the room they're in. And Mando realizes he's fallen into some sort of trap. And he tells Grogu to get out of here, and he gets him out of there. But he succumbs to the knockout gas. I want to also say that during this scene, he's still wearing his armor and his helmet. The Mando helmet has been shown in the past that he can just air seal it tight and breathe perfectly good in there. He's gone underwater in this helmet. So knockout gas shouldn't work on Mando, but for some reason it does. It just does. Mando just got really stupid and forgot how his own kit worked. But then basically, Rada and Mando are then being forced to fight in the pit. At first they're fighting each other, but then Mando just yields immediately, thinking that if he yields, the fight will be over and Rada will be set free, which seems kind of stupid to me because he already knows that the plan is to just send infinite monsters out to just kill Rada. And then the bad guy does exactly that. He's like, okay, the fight's over. Well, it's actually monster time. And so he sends all the monsters in, and then Mando and him have a really stupid action scene where they fight all the monsters, and then they do a thing where they basically open up the electronic cage where all the monsters are like stuck in. So all the monsters actually go out into the crowd and start fighting, and then so there's just chaos. Mando and Rata escape, and there's a stupid little action sequence where Rata gets into like a car and tries to drive away, and Mando and them chase after him. So there's like a high-speed chase involving a giant slug monster, which is really silly. It's as silly as it sounds. They catch Rada again, and then Rada reveals that his aunt and uncle actually want him dead because he's technically the heir to the Jabba throne, and that the aunt and uncle are literally just pretending to want him rescued just so they can kill him, so that there's no more because there's no more lineage thing. They can fully take over the Hutt planet now, Hutta. Okay. So, already you're just like, huh? Okay, so the Hutts actually want to kill Rada, but they hired the New Republic to hire Mando to go get Rada back. Now, Mando didn't know any of this information, but he was basically, Rada was about to get killed by his own boss, the Lord Genu guy. Rada then reveals that Lord Genu is actually Coin. His name is like Geno Coin. The super high profile Imperial guy that the Republic is after. So this bad guy is actually the bad guy that the Republic needs. So right now the whole plot of getting Rada out is like moot. It's like, well, I guess we don't need to get Rada to the Hutts because we already know who Coin is now and we can capture him. And then they do. Mango captures the Coin. Genu Coin, I guess is his full name. I don't know. His name's Coin because he likes money. But they take him to the Republic, and they're basically like, "Oh, good job." And then Sigourney Weaver's there, and she starts yelling at Mando, and then she's like, "Actually, the Hutts are going to be really upset that you didn't get their nephew." And it's like, well, but we were only working with the Hutts to get information on Coin. I actually found Coin. Rada showed me where Coin is. And she's like, we've been working with the Hutts for months now trying to get a good relationship, and this is going to stain that. So really, Mando gets sort of yelled at. He also doesn't bring up any of the information regarding Rada, saying that the Hutts actually want him dead, or any of that. None of this gets brought up, even though that would be very, very important information regarding what's going to happen next. But anyway, she warns him, hey, the Hutts aren't going to be happy with this, so you better watch your back. The second half of the movie is then Mando puts Rada on a ship to hide him somewhere. They're going to take him to some other place or whatever. Like, you'll be safe here, Rada, where the Hutts can't get you. And then he goes back with Grogu to his little hut in the middle of nowhere with the little Babu Freak dolls.
I need it.
Hey.
And then, like, literally the first night, a bounty hunter named Imbu? I don't know. He looks like Kung Lao. He's just a Kung Lao guy. He you know what he's based off of? I'll tell you exactly what he's based off of. He is based off of like Japanese symbology of like a samurai. In Final Fantasy X, do you remember that summon Yojimbo? Embo is basically Yojimbo. He's samurai man with the Kung Lao hat, and he comes out with a doggo like Yojimbo does. But anyway, yeah, Embo just attacks Mando in his little hut and captures him. Goes right in, and Mando falls into like a little electricity trap, and he captures him. And they take him back to the Hutts. Grogu and his little little weird friends, the little Babu Frick guys, they get away, And so so now these little guys and Baby Yoda who can't talk formulate this weird plan where they're just going to fly to Now Hutta and rescue the Mando from the hut. This is really weird because they use a little tiny spaceship, but it flies in carrying like these 4 little aliens, and they're going there with the intent of rescuing Mando. The movie does not address the fact that Mando's not going to fit on this little tiny ass ship. It does address it a little later, but here it doesn't make sense because it's like, why would these things be coming to rescue him on a ship where he can't fit? It's really stupid. Really, really stupid. Baby Yoda should have been smarter than this. There's a couple boss fights. Mando gets hurt or poisoned, and then he's not poisoned anymore because they find an NPC out in the middle of the jungle that just happens to have the anti-venom for the poison that just hit him. And there's like a 20-minute period where Baby Yoda wanders around the jungle and runs into the NPC, gets the it feels like a weird little fetch quest subplot thing, but literally the first thing Baby Yoda runs into has like the anti-venom, and it's really, really all very, very clunky. And then after we administer the anti-venom, he gets up, and then they basically find the ship that Rada was taken to, that's been shot down or crashed, but it still works, and it's filled with inventory. So yeah, and this is another thing that's weird. Rada is now just in the torture section of the huts. They got him somehow, even though Mando put him on a ship. But the next time we see him, he's actually being tortured. And then it's implied that this ship was shot down here because it's like crashed in the middle of nowhere, and Mando and Grogu just happened to find. And he's like, "Oh, this ship must have belonged to the guy that that was with Rada." But it doesn't make any sense that the ship would be crashed, because if the ship got taken over, then the ship would be frickin' brought to the huts, like specifically. Why would the ship be here to be shot down? Why would they come to Now Hutta? Like, it doesn't make no sense why the ship would be here at all, crashed. If it was brought here, it would just be like in a docking bay somewhere. So I don't even know what that's supposed to mean. Yeah, like, so you get like a 20-minute period where nothing happens, where Baby Yoda's just wandering around a jungle. He makes a stupid little Yoda hut and puts Mando in. He gets the anti-venom, he fixes it, and then they find these weapons on this ship that shouldn't even be here, and they go, well, you know what? We could leave it, we could run away, or we could fight. So it's just Mando and this baby, and he's telling this baby, he's like, let's go take down the entire Hutt empire here, little Hutt clan. They already have tons of robots. They've got they have like a full armada. It's pretty crazy to think that you can just solo these guys, but because we know it's Mando, we know he can, because he's basically invincible in every action scene, except when he wants to get bitten by a big dragon thing. But yeah, like anytime he's just fighting guys, it's just the most boring action sequences. He just goes headshot, headshot, headshot. All the stuff bounces off of him. There never really is any fear he's going to die in any of these like little scenes where he's fighting like 10 guys at once. Let's see. How does it end? Oh, they just have like a boss fight with some robots, and then they have a weird 3-way boss fight with Embo and the 2 Hutt twins that have been running everything, and then they all just sort of and then an X-wing strike force shows up, led by Ripley, who just basically blows. Basically, like 7 X-wings show up and just firebomb the whole perimeter and just destroy everything. Makes you wonder why they didn't just do that from the get-go, instead of having this whole fight. Like instead of Mando trying to solo the entire thing, he should have just gotten on the ship and gotten those X-wings, or called for help from there. Like I don't get it. And now the biggest issue of all. This is a huge plot structural problem. It makes no sense in the movie. It undoes almost any. I mean, there's not much goodwill in this movie, but it undoes everything in this movie when it is revealed at the end. Sigourney Weaver's like, we looked into it, and it turns out the Hutts are actually working with the Empire. So Rada was right. Like, they were always planning on like using our resources and screwing us over, or whatever. The Hutts are actually still bad guys. They're never gonna work with the Republic. And so now, with this information, what do we make of the whole plot about getting Rada? The Hutts want to kill Rada because they want to get rid of him because of he's the next heir of the line. They would just want to eliminate him from that. Rada is currently captured and working in a fighting pit under Lord Genu Coin, who is revealed to be, he is Empire. And it's revealed that the Hutts are working with the Empire. Coin is Empire. And they were going to trade information on where Coin is to get Rada back. So with that, if they know who Coin is, then they must also know that Coin is with Rada. Or at the very least, Coin is Lord Genu. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Lord Genu, aka Coin, was going to kill Rada in the fighting pits. The Hutts could have literally done nothing, and he was going to solve their problem for them, making the entire plot of working with the Republic fully moot. Like, it makes no sense. They can't be working with the Empire, but then and have information on where Coin is without knowing that Coin actually had Rada. That would be the biggest. It's a galaxy. That would be the biggest coincidence in the history of the universe, that Coin just happened to have Rada, and that the Hutts know everything about Coin except for the fact that he has Rada. Like, it boggles the mind. It really boggles the mind. I don't think I've ever seen like a third act revelation in any film just totally undo its plot like that. It's really insane. And then it just sort of ends. Mando and Rada might be with the New Republic. Mando and Grogu are still just doing their thing. There's nothing really of note happens. Nothing moves forward. Nothing. It's just stay away from it. If you have to watch it on Disney Plus, but don't pay money for that. It's not worth it. End rant. You'll never hear me talking about Mando again.
This is the way.